Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to Game 2 between Infamous and Doo-Wop here on the Star Ladder I-League Star Series NA Qualifiers. This is Phase 2, Round Robin, so it's all best of twos. I'm your caster, VTM, and joining me is none other than CC&C. This is our fourth game together of the day, and he's been killing it. If there are any CC&C subscribers out there, give a what's your favorite sub emote, CC&C?
That I have, or
yes, of yours.
CC&C gracious.
Give them those. Throw those up. Oh man, I'm not partnered, so I don't have anything. So
GG.
Yeah, give some feels amazing, man. That's probably my favorite one. It's so fucking funny. Anyway, we're here for Dota, not talking about people that no one cares about. So Infamous getting rid of that Slardar. That Slardar was destroying them.
Yeah, it definitely had a huge impact, but by doing that, Doo-Wop having the first pick this game and not banning out, what was banned last game? I forget, but they left out
Druid?
One of the heroes. Druid actually hasn't been touched. That's interesting. Something was banned, but they Doo-Wop left that out, and Infamous banning up the Slardar. So since Doo-Wop had the first pick, able to get up that Ember Spirit. So one of the most contested picks this patch, with the stupid level 10 magic damage, as well as the Veil. It's just so much damage, and it's had an insane win rate.
Well, we will see if the win rate stands up to the challenge. Doo-Wop are Radiant as well, right? I think Radiant, yeah, Radiant Ember Spirit is... Oh man, it's got something like a 63% win rate or something like that. Something strong, something high.
Yeah, in the first couple of days of Dota Pit, it had like a 90% win rate.
Oh my god. That's... I'm surprised that didn't receive like an instant nerf. Because I remember, what was it, the Centaur... The Centaur Manta illusion spam back when the return would affect the towers. After like one day of that at a tournament, it got nerfed.
Yeah, they treated that as if it was a bug.
Mm.
It said fixed, not changed. So it was like that wasn't intended.
I guess Ember Spirit having balance in all things is completely intended. Kappa. So we have.
Yeah. So Infamous return with the Ogre Lifestealer, and then Doo-Wop immediately with the Darkseer afterward. I really like this Darkseer pick. It's super good in combination with the Ember Spirit because it is a core that can just run in with the Iron Shell combined with the Flame Guard. It's just unbelievable amounts of damage over time. Darkseer also very good versus Lifestealer because Lifestealer a hero that likes to walk around in vehicles and try and get pickoffs. The Darkseer able to shove in the lanes non-stop with these ion shells, so it gives you a lot of information on where the Lifestealer is and where they're rotating to, so you can predict it. The Surge also very good versus Open Wounds, a hero that buys mech, so you can maybe keep your teammates alive. Can also be quite good versus the Lifestealer in lane, because the Lifestealer has a very hard time killing him. And I'm not sure why they took the Ogre, but maybe just something they value think is good versus Ember or something. But the stun is sort of hard to hit versus the Ember. You could dodge it quite easily with the Slight, or cancel his animation with the Slight and cancel it again with the Remnants. Overall, just kind of an odd Ogre pick, but we'll see how they put it to use. Centaur third pick.
I really love Centaur. I mean, I'm on the Suns fan train. I don't know if his Aghanims is good enough to pick up, but Stampede is just, I think, one of the best like fight-oriented skills if your team is just focused on beating the ever-living shit out of the enemy team. Like, if you're about all that, finesse, wombo combo, sure, maybe it's not the best, but with something like an Ogre Lifestealer, and then you Stampede, you just run at the enemy, beat him up real quick, stun him. And Doo-Wop are going to counter that, and they'll say, we can run at you even better.
Yeah, another really good Ion Shell hero. The BKB piercing stuns, very good versus the Lifestealer at disabling him while he's raged. Yeah, the Centaur third pick can do very well versus the Darkseer if they, or can do decently well versus the Darkseer in a 1v1. If they do choose to do that, if they choose to like aggro tri-lane, we'll have to see. Okay, so they're not aggro tri-lane. At the most, they may do an aggressive dual lane um, with the Centaur Ogre and then have this Oracle Lifestealer in the safe lane. The Oracle, obviously, a direct counter to the Darkseer. Purging the stuns off the Spiritbreaker can be nice. The Spiritbreaker stuns, but I kind of worry that they may get massively out-farmed as their supports are very, very single-target oriented. And Slark so far is extremely good this game. I think Doo-Wop may snatch up Slark right here. As the Darkseer can always just go jungle, get up a very, very quick level 5, and then come back to lane and not really care too much about this Oracle's presence in the lane against him. So I think Infamous may have the potential to just get massively like run at with a couple of items from Doo-Wop. As Infamous, their supports are, like I said, just extremely single target focused. Ogre, has the stun or whatever he can use, can do a lot of work, and the bloodlust on the cores. But
how horrible would a Huskar pick be here for Infamous? I mean, theoretically, it'd be better with the Dazzle, but I mean, not to flame, but Infamous are Peru, and I think Peru.
I mean, Kotaro invented Huskar.
Yeah, like they do some silly stuff.
Kotaro was the first player to play Huskar at like the armlet before boots. He used to spam it in any pubs whenever Huskar was good, and it was just a massive scourge. He's really good at Huskar, good at armlet toggling. Just basically just invented that hero. I think it's a possibility. They may actually ban it out as it is pretty good versus Ember Spirits. It kind of crushes him in lane if they do run like a mid Ember Spirit with an Ogre helping him out. Could be a possibility. Spiritbreaker and Dazzle, not the greatest heroes at helping out a dual lane mid. Dazzle's okay, but he kind of wants to be bottom, helping out whatever their safe lane is against the Centaur. So we'll have to see. It's possible it's a Huskar game. We'll see if Doo-Wop bans it out.
I've got my fingers crossed, man. Huskar games are always so funny. You either win really hard or you lose really hard.
Yeah, I would say the latter is more common. But
yeah, that is true. So let's see. What would Thick complete Doo-Wop? They need their one position. I mean, Juggernaut's banned. There's the Lifestealer already picked up. There's still Luna, but I don't like that. I don't think Luna would fit in very well with the rest of this.
I think Luna's not the worst thing in the world. It's quite good versus the Lifestealer. I'm surprised the Lone Druid, and it's surprising how, compared to like NP and DC, how these teams value Lone Druid. But I guess just not thinking it's amazingly strong. Was very good this game for sure. The Lone Druid, the Slark's still out there. Like I said, very good versus these heroes. None of them deal with a Slark that well at all. And another really great Ion Shell user. They do sort of have some building hitting issues with an Ember Spirit and a Slark. So it'll be very kill-oriented, snowballing early, and then some map control. We'll have to see. Banning out the Invoker, so obviously a very good candidate as it is good versus the Ember Spirit. Good versus this run at you styles. You can just counter-initiate with the EMP Tornado and then turn around these fights. Okay, so the Weaver. So another slippery core that's very good against heroes with low lockdown. And I also think Doo-Wop just don't value the Slark very much. They don't think he's very good. Most of their players. So they do go for the Weaver, a very good Weaver game. Only real way they have to kill him right now is a Centaur Stomp, which is, that requires a Blink Dagger, and most Centaurs don't go Blink first, so you're looking 4k gold worth of items, not counting boots and TPs and all that, before you have even a possible chance of killing this Weaver. And by then, he'll probably have some survivability items, but...
No Huskar, sadly. OD, probably the smarter pick there.
Yeah, for sure. The Huskar versus the Weaver is unplayable. They would have surely lost if they picked Huskar. Yeah, the OD, good versus the Ember Spirit in the mid game, is you can sort of pummel him down. You go Hex later on in the game, and you can almost always solo kill the Ember. It is kind of good for the Ember in lane because the OD can never break your Flame Shield past level 1 Flame Shield. So the lane is definitely fine for Ember. Should break even in the lane. OD good versus the Dazzle, as you can get in stack Swallow Graves. So it's not the worst thing in the world there. You can save heroes. Save yourself that are getting charged. They have a lot of save on Infamous. and they have a reasonable amount of single target. On Duop, they have the Spirit Breaker, they have Weaver that sort of lock on a single target hero, so they also have the Ember Spirit and the Darkseer. So Infamous is very, very single target oriented, and I worry that they'll get kited and, you know, get out team fought in these fights. As they don't really have the best catch and are more just about in these fights, you know, jumping in, sort of running at everybody and killing individual targets. But with the Grave, Darkseer will have a quick mech most probably, and the Weaver very slippery. The Weaver and Ember very slippery cores that are hard to bring down. I worry for Infamous again. I think Duop has probably gotten the better draft.
And I mean, I think that could be said just for the fact that they got Ember, just with how strong that hero is. But there is the Lifestealer on the enemy team, which is, you know, he has the Rage. OD, I think, can deal with the Ember, kinda.
Yeah, the OD is if they have a good start and they're able to buff up this OD, they have the Bloodlust to deal with him. The Centaur as well works really well with the OD. Is a frontline hero that keeps them from getting and approaching this OD, so the OD is able to pile in a lot of right clicks. Once again, I think it comes down to how these lanes go. If they can get a good start for the OD, if the Lifestealer gets off to a reasonable start, I think a lot of it comes down to how if these supports get under leveled, if the Oracle can actually have an impact in this early game. Same with the Ogre. If they fall behind, then they're just going to end up being food for this Ember and Weaver, as they're supports that are very, very bad at defending themselves, good at defending and buffing other heroes, but you know, whenever they're behind, both of these heroes are extremely bad from behind. So if Infamous falls behind, then they're going to have some serious issues. As Centaur, not a hero that's super amazing from behind either, as he likes to be ahead, pushing out these lanes with Hood, with Blink, pushing very aggressively, and being this extremely tanky frontliner. OD, not a hero that likes to be playing from behind, and Lifestealer cannot play versus a Weaver from behind. So I think Infamous definitely want to get off the ball on a good start. So we'll have to see how this laning stage goes for them.
It's interesting to see that. I feel like the support should have been something different. Oracle has something like a. Oh man, I forget the specific. It's less than a 50% win rate, even in the pro scene. Even though he is a decent defensive support, I think during the laning stage he doesn't do enough to keep people alive. And the Ogre, he tends to the aggression that you can display with an Ogre can be easily mitigated if the enemy aggressive support just focuses him. Then it just becomes, you know, this big old fat blubbery Ogre that does nothing.
Yeah, for sure. This the first wave definitely going into 747's favor. Like we said, it's Ember. Maybe not. I don't know necessarily about favored. You do have more damage in the OD, but it's definitely a pretty even matchup. And 747 having a much better time than last game, where our mid was kind of a stomp. So up top, Buryu barely getting away.
They do have the slow on Snake King. He doesn't have the surge just yet. And ooh, look at that! Axel with the body blocks. Are they gonna get him? Yep, they get him with the lash. There we go. Got him down. Fortune's End.
Yeah, so Duop opting to go for this aggressive dual lane instead of sending the Darkseer to the jungle. So trying to pressure this Lifestealer and keep the supports in the lane. So gonna give the Ember and the Weaver both good starts. I think this is a pretty good choice, as the Darkseer doesn't have need to have the most amazing game this game. He can always catch up, and in the mid game they don't have great heroes at picking you off and pressuring him that much, so he can always just Iron Shell the waves down. It's not a game where the opposing team has a mech carrying hero that's having a really great game. That's a lot of times when you need to have your mech carrier to have a great game, is whenever the other team has a mech carrier that's having a good game, so you don't have that mech disadvantage versus like an Underlord or something like that. But this game they have a Centaur who's probably going to get punished pretty hard, and isn't the greatest at jungling. Does have the Calling Blade, so he's going to start working on that. But Snake King should have a fine time in up in this top lane. Now that he has Surge, it's almost impossible for them to really get any kills up here.
And then, on the other hand, I mean, you were talking about the mech and all that. Like, this Darkseer with a mech, he's so good at just... He forces enemies to have to stay in lanes to counter pushes, right? He's really maneuverable. He can create a lot of space for his team. And it looks like you know, on the side of Infamous, they don't really have much counter push. Much ways to deal with that, let alone the Ember, who is caught in the Astral, or a Weaver who's going to be off split pushing. Like, Infamous's draft looks really 5-man oriented.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm kind of curious what build this Lifestealer goes for. I think he may go for some sort of like a Midas, or maybe go for like the Maelstrom build-up instead of the Desolator, because there's a Dazzle, and then also because he kind of wants to get really farmed this game, as his real only partner in crime to go around and get pickoffs is the Centaur, who's probably going to go for a Hood first. So he's going to have a Blink pretty late into the game, and then also the Centaur is a hero that likes to stay in lanes and push them out, like you said. They don't really have a lot of lane pushers. Oracle and Ogre, both of those heroes can't really deal with lane pressure well at all. They require their cores to, so this Lifestealer may end up farming lanes a lot more than Lifestealers typically want to, instead of going around looking for fights, which is what they tend to prefer to do. Odie actually mixing it up in the skill build department, going for 1-1-2 and getting the early point in Arcane Arms, so trying to punish the Ember that way by just pulling him down with these Arcane Arms. We'll see how it plays out, as he is having an early lead in the lane, but it may degenerate reasonably quickly as this Ember, once he gets to like level 5 or so, if the Odie doesn't get really good
they catch him in the Fortunes, and the Astral gonna actually take down this Ember. Buryu is here. No, Ember survives! Oh, man. He does get gunned down, though, by the Purifying Flames. Oh, that was close.
Not the worst thing in the world, though. He is going to be able to TP back in with full mana and full HP, and Odie doesn't have a Shrine. Both Shrines used, so unless he dies here again, which I don't think is likely, as Odie, like we said, very, very low on mana, so isn't going to be able to pressure the Ember very much.
Easy 100 gold. Buryu is here. He doesn't have any mana to charge out now, and he's the focus of all of this damage. 747 trying to burn. He gets both in those chains. Looks like he will be able to take down Mania. Oh no, not unless the neutral creeps are there to pick up the kill. Oh
yeah,
man.
It's a little bit unfortunate. They the Ember not having the best laning start ever, was pretty good early on, but now with the Odie with the 2 points in the Arcane Orb and then more points in the passive, with the Ember not in a position where he can really push up on him that much, this Odie might be able to just bully him out of the lane. As you can see him just walking up, just knocking on him with these Arcane Orbs, but as his mana is pretty low, the Arcane Orb's not doing the most damage. Still pretty annoying for this Ember Spirit. He's running low on mana, doesn't have mana for the chains, and they may try and set up for a kill here, but kind of hard for the Odie to get into range to set up for an Astral, and if he did, his mana would be too low, so gonna think better of it. Scared of the turnaround potential from the Spirit Breaker, and just gonna continue to farm. But if you look at the Weaver CS, having just complete free farm, has the Aqua, the Blightstone, and the Bottle Up as well. While the Lifestealer having free farm as well, the Weaver you definitely favor in just a on paper carry versus carry matchup. So the Duo Up is fine with the way the lanes are going right now. The Darkseer having a decent time compared to the Centaur, who's not even up to his Tranquil Boots yet. So while the Ember falling behind sort of again, 747, a player that's perfectly fine from playing from behind. A very, very safe player, a consistent player, and doesn't often throw, if at all. So if he's having a rough early start, then I think they're totally fine with that. He's an extremely consistent player.
I feel like the Ogre Magi has been so much of a non-factor in this game. Like, looking at, I think that's Stinger, he just kind of walks back and forth from lanes, hasn't accomplished much. And then with an Ogre like that, you really want to make sure you win lanes, right? Where
yeah, he's actually gonna go down bottom as well.
Yeah, he's most likely dying here unless he can get some sort of lucky save.
The stun the Weaver is a nice choice instead of stunning the Spirit Breaker, but he still is gonna go down unless the misses come out, which they do.
Oh, look at all this space created. The Weaver time-lapsing back though, so now only Buryu's there. Double
Charge
edge.
probably gonna come out as well. Yeah, should be okay.
Gonna take a tower hit, but he's good. 2.
He's waiting to get up. Very nice. He waited till right up till he went up on top of that hill, so they didn't get vision of him, and then it TP's out immediately. So perfect timing. But Buryu, they get the kill, force a lot of rotations over. So now the Oracle here as well, sneaking even more free space up at top. Has the Soul Ring up and running. 300 gold. Gonna start working towards that mech. And yeah, just a nice kill. Continues to enable the Weaver, gives him some more space. He's gonna start working on that Dragon Lance. Already up to 1350 gold, so almost has it completed.
He is going the no boots build though, so that's a memer. I don't
yeah, I
like
think it's
that.
quite good this game. You don't really need the boots. You're gonna be shikuchiing around all the time. Not going to boots lets you get this bottle, which lets you stay on the map much more. You can keep these smaller items, and the boots don't really benefit you too much. You know, because you do have all this mana regen, you can just shikuchi around the map. You know, this Dragon Lance will give you some attacks, will give you some HP that the treads normally would. And yeah, just in general, boots on this hero can be sort of a waste at times, or just something that's not necessary. So I actually like this build up quite a bit.
Oh, there we are. Self-Astral, as well
Wasting the
as
Stampede.
Stampede. Yeah, a little bit of a miscommunication there. Now the OD might have to pay the price. We do have the Fortune's End grabbing Doo-Wop, but
Yeah, there was a
No
very
safe
nice
there.
smoke. They pushed in bottom all the way, and then everybody going to the shrine, using it, healing everybody up, and then everybody just running to this line immediately afterward, killing the OD. Now forcing all 4 heroes to be here, while Snaking continues to just keep top pushed in, farm up. The Lifestealer farming as well, so almost has the armlet, having a pretty good game himself. Actually going to finish it off in just a second now, so the Lifestealer at the very least having a good game, and the OD having a pretty decent game. But I would say Doo-Wop fine. You know, they get the nice kill on the OD. Everybody just sort of goes back to what they're doing with. You are going to shrine up top, no bounty runes, so not gonna be able to pick that up. But may batch the Weaver up against the dark, or against the Lifestealer up in this top lane. It's gonna have a hard time really dealing with this Weaver's prowess.
that is, I think, one of the things. Infamous, they're very much geared up to deal with the Ember. You know, that, like, in their draft, it shows that they were ready to deal with him, but this slippery little bug man is going to be such a thorn in their side. Is there anything that this OD in particular can do to, you know, besides a sheep stick at some point? Is there anything that he can do to really ease the Weaver tension, to make him a non-factor?
I mean, the Weavers as a hero just doesn't typically like to go BKB, so it's in general just a nice matchup for the OD there. He probably will eventually this game, as if he has a BKB, he's literally unkillable, so he may go for a BKB 3rd or 4th item. He may also go for a Manta, is pretty decent. Yeah, actually Manta's not great. Yeah, he'll probably go like Deso BKB or something after the Dragonlance, we'll have to see. Yeah, the OD can force him to play quite, or considerably more passive than he normally would, as he can just sort of walk up and...
They're engaging on the Lifestealer. They do pop the Stampede, and that was a good little stomp. They take down the Dazzle. The Oracle TPing out as fast as he can. Now Snaking running. He did get the wall off. The Lifestealer helped try to take down this... Oh, the double edge. There we go, yeah. Lifestealer's going to punch him down. So that was a 3-for-1. Horrible, but the Weaver's here to clean up. The Stomp not connecting. Now Weaver's here ready. He does have time-lapse
nice
available.
armlet toggle.
Throws out that swarm. Gonna give some vision, some minus armor.
Uh-oh.
He's ready for... Ooh. The rage is there. He's stuck. Doesn't have enough mana for that time lapse yet. Oh! Sanity's Eclipse. Almost taking Yelwar down. He's running up. There's no shrine available just yet.
It should be just fine. Claire TPing in. Going to refill his bottle, heal him up, so he will be able to skitter on over, and they may look for a fight mid now. As I really like this, just putting the Darkseer mid while that fight is going on, letting the Ember farm the jungle, stay off the map, finish up his Veil, so he can't get pressured by this OD in the lane. And now you can see Doo-Wop slowly starting to creep up in net worth after that fight up in top lane. The Weaver having a really good game so far, working towards that Desolator. Almost has the first Mithril Hammer as well as the Blightstone, so having a very good game. And with that Veil, you know, like we talked about, they're going to have these super slippery cores that Infamous just really aren't super suited to deal with. So, kind of worried for Infamous as this mid-game approaches, with some core items getting picked up on these slippery cores. If they may just get run over by the very, very good run at you draft by Doo-Wop.
Look at this. Yawar just going deep in the enemy jungle, harassing this OD, preventing him from getting farm. I mean, he's not afraid of anything at this point.
Yeah, and all the meanwhile, the Dazzle farming mid, Spiritbreaker getting some levels top, so making a fair amount of space for his team. While he skitters around, like you said, forcing the or stopping the OD from farming, getting these lanes out very far, and Dazzle actually may be able to take this mid tower, at least get some damage in. So the Ogre rotates in to take the pressure off the tower, pulling off the creeps. So Duop just spreading their XP and levels around quite a bit. I really like that, giving the Dazzle and the Spiritbreaker both their level 6s, so going to be much more adept at taking these mid game fights. As they continue to just play around this mid lane, trying to take this tower. Oh. Centaur almost went down.
Ooh, almost taking himself down there. Meanwhile, mid, there was a big engagement. The OD getting bursted down by the Ember, as well as his good friend Ogre falling. And then this is going to be a tower. Fortunate. The fortification's there just to buy some time, but 747 will take that tower.
Yeah, and you can see it, just the Ion Shell combined with the Weaver and Ember, just right on top of them at all times, just burning down extremely quickly. As the Veil up now as well, and 1200 gold, so may go for the Blink first, may go for the bots. We'll have to see, but the Centaur actually going for Blink, not the Hood, so really looking to get active right now with this Lifestealer, as they really need to. They need to look for some plays, as once they get the mech, the Crimson Guard, and this Darkseer, he can make his team basically invincible with those couple of items once he gets up to him. So Infamous definitely feeling like they're on a timer. You can tell from going the Blink on the Centaur first and smoking, but none of Duop showing. Shove in all the lanes very passively with the Flame Shield, with the Ion Shell, and immediately all zipping out. It's just so hard for Infamous to get these lanes out like we talked about earlier. You know, their supports, not great at shoving lanes. Their Centaur going for a Blink first, so he's not in a position to shove lanes or, you know, take care of that space that's being created. And really it's just the OD, and OD can, you know, he can farm some waves, but he can't farm everything on the map. So Weaver looks like he's just gonna...
Oh man, they catch out the Weaver. Good chunk of gold there, 500 going the way of the Centaur. So maybe that'll launch him towards that hood that you were talking about. It's that caster's curse, man. Just as we're talking about something.
Here. Yeah, but it looks like they're gonna defend this tower, so not really willing to give this up as they feel they're strong right now. The Weaver up in 10 seconds, so Infamous definitely don't have the time to take this tower. Is that Ember with the Veil now as well, as he had that at the mid tier 1 fight for Dire, and all of them is just gonna back up, so they get the Weaver kill. It's a nice gold boost as the Lifestealer puts his Infest bomb into action, but Duop just gonna go right back to farming. It looks like they may actually smoke up. We'll have to see, but yeah, they're pinging the smoke on Clairvoyance, but sort of a little bit of indecision maybe. Looking like they want to move up to top lane, maybe. Yeah, okay, so it looks like they're gonna move down to bottom with the smoke. So a lot of pings are coming out and trying to make something happen with this this Darkseer Ion Shell, while the Weaver goes and chills up top lane, finishes off his Deso as his damage is sort of running low right now, but the Deso will boost that back up to very threatening levels in just a bit.
I've noticed with Duop, their movements are very surgical. Like, they like to go in kind of like this needle-shaped line, right? They'll have one person lead their charge, like just now. The rest of the team's gonna follow in. So then that way, the brunt of the focus is gonna be on something like, say, the Spiritbreaker. But now, down falls that Centaur. The wall is in the center of this fight, so it's going to be keeping the rest of Infamous back. And I mean, that was a 2-for-1.
Yep. All the meanwhile, Yawar does take top tower and finishes up his Deso, so Duop totally fine with that. I'm using the Centaur ult as well. Centaur going down again, and Centaur, like we said, not a hero that's great from playing from behind. He really likes to have a lot of items, be that super tanky frontline force, but whenever he just has a Blink Dagger, not really able to do that. Not a hero that's, you know, he does have a good strength gain, is innately tanky, but versus heroes like this Ember and Weaver with all of this damage, as well as the Ion Shell on top of him, he's just gonna melt in these fights. As Darkseer having the mech up now and going for those Guardian Griefs, so inversely, Infamous is gonna have a very hard time bringing down Duop's heroes.
I think it just comes down to, like, I don't want to say that there's no synergy with with Infamous's lineup, but it just, I don't know. I feel like, you know, the only...
You want to say it?
Yeah, I want to say it, but... Okay, so the Oracle, forced to false promise himself to get out. There's like only one Lifestealer vessel, and that's with the Centaur. And he's already shown that...
Scan.
Yeah, he's already shown his blink. So now Duop are gonna be on their heels about, you know, getting caught out like the Weaver did earlier. That's most likely not gonna happen again unless they get lazy.
Yeah, and like we talked about a little bit earlier, Infamous really only with one or, you know, charge coming in.
Charge to grab him. The stun,
Nice
though,
stun.
gonna be stopping that Nether Strike. Oh, they get him. Yep, Lifestealer's not gonna be TPing out of this with all the bashes. Huge burst of damage from 747. Now it's looking like Duop are going to keep the
DD on
pressure
Weaver.
forward. Oh, huge bits of damage there on that OD. Annihilated by 747. Explosions of damage coming out. Weaver hitting hard. I mean, this Ember Spirit just bursting. And this is going to be a tower. Maybe even a tier 3 push.
Yeah, I think it's unlikely that they're able to take the tier 3, so not really worth the time to just chip away at it a little bit. Would much rather get their lanes out or move to another part of the map as their next objective probably going to be Roshan, or unless they take some sort of a good fight and are able to get more towers. It looks like they are going to try and pressure this mid tower as Infamous, as both of their cores are in base for now, have to move back out, so not able to set up for this tower, and they are going to lose this tier 2 most likely.
All right, so I was wrong about the position of the tower, but I knew they were going to take a tower. I mean,
this is true.
They've got the momentum, right? If they just step back, like, they're just letting Infamous catch back up. So it's really, it sounds brutal, but they just got to strangle Infamous. Keep them down, strangle them to death.
Yeah,
Uncle
they
Knox.
you know, they know that Infamous really only wants to play one way, which is the Centaur going and looking for pickoffs with the Lifestealer, and whenever all your lanes are in and they know exactly what you want to do, it's very easy to predict how you're going to move around the map. So, you know, with all these lanes in, you can see top lane pushed all the way in. You know that most probably Infamous are playing around this bottom right side of the map, and Duop know this. They immediately head up the top lane. They're going to take this tier 2 tower and then maybe even pressure Roche afterward, as they're fine trading a tier 2 and Roshan for just a tier 1 tower. So they can defend this mid lane with just one hero in just a second, as it looks like. 747 may be running over there, and yeah, he is. Already has 2,800 gold, so it's going to be going for that Radiance most likely, and getting pretty close to that already. So everybody's sort of migrating over to this Roche pit. Looks like they will be taking it pretty soon after they take this top tower. You are hammering onto it.
So let's see. We've got a shrine and a tier 2 being taken, all for a tier 1. Not the best trades for Infamous, but I mean, when you're behind, you got to take every little bit, every little thing that you can take. It's actually their first tower in the game. It's pretty depressing. So it doesn't. I don't know. They're not acting like they're too confident for Roche. Yeah, they're just gonna go back down, push out bottom, I guess. Nope, they're going back into Roche. Okay.
Yeah, I really like this pickup from Buryu, getting the HOD, sort of like we saw in the DC series. Getting this Ice Ogre creep, putting it on everybody. Really just, it's so good versus Lifestealer. And, you know, just sort of another body up in these front lines to make space for this Ember and Weaver to skitter-scatter around and kite them, go in and out, and just burst heroes down. So, with this Roshan dropping as well, it's going to be almost impossible for this Weaver to die. Has to make some major mistakes, or Infamous finding the perfect fight, but other than that, this Weaver, almost no way for him to go down as they storm towards the Ogre. Looks like he is going to fall.
Oh man, yeah, he's done. Weaver just gonna pick him up with the Shikuchi. Meanwhile, we have Duop. They're falling back. They're getting ready for their defense. And I don't know if they've got it in them. It's hard enough for them to kill Weaver one time, but now he's got that Aegis. He's very, very close to getting that Lincoln's. I don't want to say he's unkillable, but the man is going to be very hard to bring down. I mean, at this point, what is Doo-Wop's avenue for success? I feel like they can't have an overly complex plan. You know, the more parts to a plan, the easier it is to fail. But also, I just feel like as the game goes on, they're going to just get out-carried as well.
Yeah, they just have to try and get these lanes out as much as they can and look for a good fight at the high ground. Try and find a hero out of position, burst them with the Centaur, Lifestealer combination, get the OD, some instacks up, and try and take the fight from there. But that's really the only options they have right now, are just to look for, you know, a hero massively out of position outside the base, or look for some sort of a base fight. And they're gonna try and catch 747 up top, but right after this wave, he's gonna zip back out, most probably. Or may go to this hard camp, but he sees some shenanigans, so probably gonna zip back out. And yeah, he does.
Tears him apart there. It just feels like Infamous are falling apart. I think they're desperate for farm. They're all spread out. Like, they get caught so often. There's the buyback from the OD. And the Stampede. Oh man, the Lifestealer's in the center of this. He does have his rage up, but that's going to be timing out very shortly here. 747 going in very deep, bouncing all over the place, doing large amounts of damage. The Shrine is here to at least help Infamous survive out this siege. Yep, Yawar getting stomped. They're catching him, but oh, the saving Force Staff.
Who did that?
The Spirit Breaker did.
Oh, Spirit Breaker is a Force Staff, okay.
Oh, the Weave just gonna help fortify this fight even more. Snaking, amazing vacuum there. It's looking like Infamous. Oh, is it a team wipe? Yeah, there's diebacks aplenty. That's GG. This game is over.
Yeah, it was very difficult for Infamous and Draft. We said they needed to have a great early start, and while some of their lanes went okay, just not good enough to save the draft disadvantage they had coming into the game, and Doo-Wop just playing their draft very, very well. Just having one death on all of their, or on 747 and UR each, so giving up very, very little and playing extremely well. And they take the series 2-0, Doo-Wop showing that they are the superior team.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be, I mean, we've only had 2 series for the day, but now they are top of the group. Fantastic for them. Next up, we are going to have Team Freedom versus Team Onyx. I have not cast an Onyx game yet, so I'm very excited for this. And then we're going to have everyone's favorite BSJ on Team Freedom with... Yeah, so that's going to be pretty fun. Do you have any final closing thoughts about this? Is there any takeaways from this game that, you know, shows what Doo-Wop did right, what Infamous did wrong? What should we expect from both of these teams throughout this qualifier?
I mean, I think Doo-Wop, sort of the wild horse, not the wild horse, the dark horse in a lot of these qualifiers up and coming. Not a super well-known team, have had a lot of renditions of them, but have some very, very talented players on them, and I think look out for them to maybe be in contest for a couple of these land spots, you know, fighting Onyx, Wanted, those types of teams. And I think they have a decent shot versus them, as they have some extremely talented players, and they understand drafts and how to play high-level Dota very, very well. Just players with a lot of experience just playing the game for a really long amount of time, whether it be on high-level teams or, you know, just pubs and lower-level teams. They still understand the game at a much higher level than a lot of the other NA teams that aren't, you know, the EGs, DCs, etc. And for Infamous, you know, they're a new team. They just lost a couple of players, different rosters, so they still have to grow into their skin. We'll see how they do as they get more used to it, if they do choose to stick together.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we will be back very, very shortly with the next series. So stick around, everyone.